Hey there, people. So today is my big series finale, the final episode of my Terraria 1.3.5.3 expert solo playthrough before the big 1.4 update comes this weekend. And of course, that update is going to be huge, and on a bit of a smaller scale, this episode is going to be huge. I'm going to be fighting Duke Fishron, decided to take him on after all, and also I'm going to do Lunatic Cultist, the Celestial Events, Lunar Events, Celestial Pillars, whatever you want to call them, and of course, Moon Lord. So this is going to be a huge, huge episode with a lot of content, so I'm just going to get right into it. I am going to get these buffs from my Bewitching table and my ammo box. I've already got my fishing rod ready to go. So I'm just going to cast it off the end here, and I'm going to get my other buffs in place, and we are going to take on Duke Fishron, and yeah, this whole episode is going to be very, very challenging, but what I'm going with for this fight, I did farm the Martian Madness event, and so I got my Xeno Popper, also, actually, speaking of which, things I should have done slightly before now. I've got the Xeno Staff. That actually took me the longest. And if you were watching the last episode, you may have noticed I didn't until after I finished recording, and after I was editing, actually, that I actually did get the chain gun from the Frost Moon as well, so that was just lucky. So I do have that as well. As you can see, I'm going with Chlorophyte bullets because Duke Fishron is very fast, and I want to stay out of his way. So I'm concentrating on my dodging, and I've also got my Master Ninja gear, of course, so that I can dodge out of the way quickly like that. I've got my Inferno Potion, that's the fire ring around me that's protecting me from a lot of this stuff. Uh-oh, okay, here we go, and this is why the other major thing that I got here was the anti-gravity hook, because it's the only way that I know how to try to dodge during the final little bit there, and wow, that worked well. I didn't think he was going to go down quite that fast, so there we go. We have beaten Duke Fishron just like that. You know what? I still have a lot of my buffs active. I'm going to go straight over. Now, I did turn on auto pause because I was afraid I might need to go to the nurse and get a heal. But let's go ahead and open the treasure bag. Okay, is that? Yeah, it's an auto pause thing. Okay, I don't usually use auto pause, but I do have my Shrimpy Truffle now. So let's equip that. I did get the Cosmic Card Key. I wasn't going for that. I just got it. And let's see, I got the Duke Fishron mask and the Tempest Staff. You know what, just for fun, let's put that mask on. I'm not doing any fishing right now. I've been wearing my angler set in my vanity slots. But you can see here the gear that I'm using. I did get the festive wings from the Frost Moon as well. I got my Master Ninja gear that I've been using a while. I went with the Star Veil to help me avoid damage. And I got the Celestial Shell, so I had to farm Golem and the Martian Madness event. You can see I got my Destroyer emblem there as well. So I farmed Golem a bunch of times for some of that stuff. And yeah, actually, I'm not going to need my fishing rod right now, but I am going to need to take these with me. And that. But let's head right over to take on the Lunatic Cultist next. But let's not delay this any further. Let's get our third UFO out, and apparently I'm going to be taking on the cultists at night because it's just about nighttime. But let's go ahead and I may as well throw up a couple Nimbus clouds just for fun. And I could use the Xeno, well, yeah, I could use the Xeno Staff. Well, I am using the Xeno Staff, but I could use the UFO mount here, but I guess I'm not going to. We'll just take those guys out. Here comes the cultist. Oh, you know what? I took away the campfire, I think, and the heart lantern. But whatever. As I say, I'm not that worried about the cultist. Even though there's a reduction, there's actually a penalty for using homing bullets or homing weapons in general on the cultist. They just make the fight so much easier that it's worth doing anyway. Now, how did he manage to summon that? Oh well. It's actually rare that he summons one of those dragons when I'm using these, because the homing bullets usually target the real cultist and stop him from doing that. Oh, some of my buffs must have worn out just after hitting the buff button previously. So I noticed my life force was clearly not in effect there for a minute. Anyway, yeah, Chlorophyte, homing, takes out the dragons as well, and I really just have to keep dodging. I find the cultist actually, by this point when you're this prepared, the cultist is one of the easiest bosses, just when you are prepared and you're using the right equipment. I'm surprised I keep missing interrupting that summoning of the Phantasm Dragon. That's actually quite surprising. Oh, and he's doing the Doom thing. I'm still not doing like wonderfully at dodging here, but I'm just kind of going in a circle and I keep getting hit anyway, but nonetheless, and I don't have my campfire. Well, I do have a campfire in the house there, but I don't have my heart lantern, and you know what? It's alright. It's alright, because it's not that hard really, but I did get my Ancient Manipulator, picked that up. That's absolutely critical. So yeah, I guess I can just leave most of that stuff in my inventory. And of course now we're going to have the Celestial Pillars, the Lunar Events. I'm going to want to reassign where my nurse is at. It's going to take a while to defeat the pillars. So, oh yeah, oh god, we're in Solar Pillar zone right away. Hey. Well, no time like the present, I guess. Maybe I will keep the homing bullets for the moment. Might help me against these guys. Let's stash, I didn't get a lot of money there, but let's stash it anyway. And these enemies don't really, Lunar Event, Celestial Event enemies don't drop a lot of stuff. I don't want to use more buff potions than I need to, because I don't want to have to go fishing again before Moonlord. So I guess we're just taking on the Solar Pillar first because it's here, which, you know, not the recommended strategy. Solar Pillar is usually the last, if anything, that you might want to take on. Maybe I should check where all the pillars are before I commit to this. Okay, let's see. Let's see where my pillars are at. So yes, Solar Pillar is right there. Oh, it's actually the farthest out. I've got, okay, that's Vortex way out there, we've got Stardust there, and we've got Nebula there. Yeah, actually, that location for the Nebula Pillar works out. I guess I will do the Nebula Pillar last. That works out nicely, because then I'll be close to my home base. Being that I've been playing as a ranger, I will want to do the Vortex Pillar, maybe. The first one that I'm intending to do, but since I'm here, we'll do Solar, what the heck. And yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of just staying on the edge of the zone because I don't really want to deal with too many Solar Pillar enemies all at once. And it really helps that this happens to be where my arena is. That's the other reason I'm staying here. Yeah, I'm not supposed to leave the platform when those guys are around. Praltipedes will target you when you're up in the air, essentially. If you can see, he's ignoring me as long as I'm staying on, as long as I don't start flying, essentially. Okay, I'm gonna need to back off here. In fact, yeah, you can see he actually started to come towards me when I was in the air, and went away again. So I'm taking a very sort of defensive strategy here. I think I have Campfire and Heart Lantern in here. Yeah, I have a couple of each. So you know what? Let's just stick that right there. And let's take one of each of these and put them over this direction. Because, yeah, those are going to run out. And I have a spot all picked out. That's why there's a single solid wood block there. Yeah, I'm kind of hiding a little. Okay, I may need to put some buffs in. Or I can just take a little break and sit by my regeneration stuff and swap in my shiny stone. This is why I keep this, so, you know, if I really need to heal, I can just back out, swap in the shiny stone, not wait for the heal buff, or the heal potion delay. It's a little bit cheesy to hang out on the edge here, but you can see how much damage I take immediately as soon as I have to start actually fighting these guys. So wait until I stop seeing those red lasers, and when we get to that point, that's when I'll probably want to put my buffs in, charge into the fray and all that. Yeah, when they do that spin, that's when they reflect bullets back at you. Really hurts. Because, you know, I'm all amped up here. These are the things that make the solar pillar so annoying. Guys that reflect your bullets back at you. Yeah, I really should stop shooting when I see them do that spin. And big worms in the sky that target you as soon as you leave the ground. Okay, I am not seeing red lasers at this point, so yeah, I don't really need the infernal potions anymore, but hey, they're there. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing them, so I just put my buffs on. That being said, I'm going to want to take a second. Heal back up. Alright, so now I'm just going to want to charge in there. This is where maybe the boots would be useful. Okay, so that's why we don't fly when those guys are around. But then I dare not sit on the ground either, so this charging in there thing is going to be a pain. This is why the solar pillar is horrible. Okay, so I found the problem, and that is that I've run out of chlorophyte bullets, so no wonder. I was expecting my bullets to be homing in on the enemies, and that is not what has happened, because I'm out of chlorophyte bullets. So, what we're going to want to do here, easiest way to deal with the pillars once the shield is down, is to do exactly that. Really just need to take out this pillar before these guys murder me, and take out these guys to stop them from murdering me. Come on. Oh god. Yeah, I knew it. I'm like, I need to fly to get away from these guys. Oh, there it goes though. There it goes. There it goes. Alright, well we did it. We took out the pillar and died at the same time. Anyway, I literally was watching my health potion countdown. And then, meanwhile, trying to dodge, but knowing that as soon as I fly up in the air, the Crawltipede is going to come, and yeah, that's what happened. One of those guys somehow came all the way over here to find me. But, yeah, that'll be the solar pillar. So I just need to go collect those solar fragments, and then I can come right back. And we'll move on. I'm just going to transport back to my main base after that. Here we are, solar fragments, tasty. Here we go, back at the dungeon house, and I'm just going to collect the cash, and then I'll transport back to the main base and stash some things, gear up for the next pillar. Okay, so I went ahead and stashed all that stuff, stashed whatever money I had, and all that. I also stocked up on potions and, you know, did some gardening. So the thing is, right now I'm going to need to head right through the territory of, I think that's the Stardust Pillar, to get to the Vortex Pillar. I want to do the Vortex Pillar first. So we're just going to try to dash right through this area. And we'll come back to that a little later. But I'm bringing a bed with me as well. Reason for that being... yeah, I mean, I may as well kill a few on the way, but the Vortex Pillars beyond the jungle here. I'm bringing a bed because there are a couple of floating islands up here. I don't have a house that I built over here, but there are a couple of floating islands, so I might just use one of those as my little base for this pillar. If I can even fly up high enough. Yeah, there's one, but it's actually the second one that I want, so that's okay. There's a second one just beyond, which actually that works out great because there's this little hill and everything. Just managed that. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into my little base. Oh, and it's just inside the zone too. That's interesting. Maybe I should pick the other one then. So I don't really want my base inside the area. So sure, let's go over to this one. In fact, I can even do the fight between the two islands if I really want to. So we'll put that there, set the spawn point, and I'll stash these in here as well. And I will want my campfire and heart lantern. I'll just put one of each here. I did take those with me. So yeah, that gives me a nice little base of operations, so to speak. And I'm going to try to avoid using my buffs. In fact, I do have all those crystal bullets. I don't want to waste them. I actually had made 2 stacks previously. Obviously, I used some there. I don't want to waste them, so I'm just going to use my default ammo for the time being. It'll do. I don't want to waste stuff that's a little more precious, although not that that stuff's really precious either. Let's go ahead and put a campfire and a heart lantern here as well. So this will be kind of my secondary base. I should be kind of not quite above it. It's right over there. It's the actual pillar, but the enemies should spawn here. And actually being up here means I might end up not having them spawn quite as quickly, which could work out well. Because some of them will be spawning probably down on the ground. So I can kind of take them on a little more leisurely up here. Yeah, this might work out very well. Right on the edge of the zone, some of the enemies will be down on the ground, so I can kind of just take it easy. Oh, you guys are breaking into my other house. Break into my house. Yeah, I actually do want to keep them spawning, because I don't have such huge numbers that I'm worried about being overwhelmed here. Only thing is, this is going to take a while at this rate. Vortex Pillar is not so hard. Okay, yeah, it'll spawn those guys in through that as well, of course. But if I get myself in trouble, I can just warp literally over to that other house, so that's nice and convenient. Maybe while I wait for some more guys, I'll just use my shiny stone. Where'd that guy go? There's a guy, he came down and he ran away. Come on. Alright, I might have to actually go down, and I can hear some of them splashing about. Yeah, here we are. Actually, even that kind of works out, because I can just fly directly up from this little island spot. Oh yeah, there's definitely more guys spawning down here. Queens are interesting because, of course, they spawn the larvae. If you let those guys grow, it gives you extra, you know, people to fight. Extra points towards the pillar, I think. I think not when they're larvae, though. I think the larvae don't count, but they do count when you let them grow at least to the hornet stage. Once again, I'll know when to stop when I stop seeing those red lasers flying back towards the pillar. Those guys are trying to throw me off, but actually they're just saving my wings from flight time. And I did swap my grappling hook back to my previous one. The anti-gravity hook has its uses, but it's not everything. Every time I go out to try to take on the guys that are underneath there, the portal, the pillar spawns in a portal with a couple of hornets. This wasn't really my intention, but at this moment I'm just kind of harvesting this bunch of queens because these queens they've been sticking around a while. They sort of grew in their numbers. They've been hanging out underneath there, and then every time I kill one, of course, it spawns a couple larvae, so they're just multiplying, so I'm not even in the zone now. Yeah, you might want to not let them get too high in their numbers. Run away. Just in time. Wow, alright. That was quite the swarm going on there. Let's heal. So, you guys still here? No. Okay. That giant swarm of queens and hornets went away when I beamed away. We still have the red lasers. We haven't hit our numbers yet, despite the swarm. Speaking of swarm, though, you do have to finish off, you know, the hornets and the queens, the larvae, the hornets. You don't want to let them grow into too big a swarm, as I have. Oh. You also don't want to get too focused on thinning that swarm and die. Alright, it's a new day. Back in we go. Now I'm not seeing the red lasers. Yeah, I think we got... That's funny that I died, like, right before we hit the point. Okay, so, I am now going to want to... Why don't I clear these guys out? Just to make sure that I don't have a swarm already on me when I get in there. Okay. Buff. Heal. Extra minion. We're going for it. I did also bring my Electrosphere launcher, which I forgot to use. But you know what? First of all, you guys. But let's try using that on the actual pillar here. That's pretty effective. Along with that. But we do have to be direct with some of these guys. Yeah, I figured that's the great thing about the Nimbus Rod. It'll damage the pillar while I concentrate on living. So, Vortex Pillar is down, which means I'm going to be able to craft my Phantasm, which I've been looking forward to. I really love the Phantasm. It's one of my favorite weapons. And there we go, Phantasm. Oh, I got a strong Phantasm. Not bad, but I'm going to want to head back to my main base so that I can reforge that. So I'm going to reforge that Phantasm and probably a couple other little preparations, and then we'll head over and I'm going to do the Stardust Pillar next, because I'm going to want the Stardust Dragon. Alright, so the final two pillars are relatively close to my main base, so I just set my spawn point back in my main base for this one at least. And I am going to want to see how close can I get over here before I end up in the zone of the pillar. Okay, it's right there. Actually, this is a pretty good spot, though, because I can put that there. And I've put my Phantasm as my primary now, and I'm just using my Endless Quiver default thing for now. I can take, actually... Oh, wow. I wasn't even watching my health. I didn't think I was that damaged. Okay, so... yeah, the Stardust cells are interesting because you can actually keep a bunch of them out on the edge like that and let them sort of regrow and use that to get the total number down quickly. It's funny how the randomization in Terraria works. You'll notice the first time I got a lot of Stardust cells, and this time I'm getting a lot of these guys. The, what are they called? They're not staying still long enough for me to see their name. I forget what they're called. Milky Way Guide or something? Yeah. Those guys. Right, and another thing about the Phantasm that's very important to remember is the longer you hold down fire, the faster it fires. So you kind of don't really want to let go of that. I am using an endless quiver anyway, so that works out. I could equip my magic quiver, which would up the damage and speed some more. And maybe I'll do a little minor Stardust cell farming here. Gotta be careful they don't really overwhelm me, though. Interesting how the sort of child cells actually don't come at you. They don't really attack you because they wait until they grow up, so to speak. Okay, I'm gonna need to thin this, though. Wow, I got 2 Stardust banners already, which means I'm making excellent progress, I guess. But I am right on the edge of death, too, so... Yeah, I think I already killed enough, so I just gotta finish these guys off now. Not let them spawn even more. Yeah, I've got 150 just of these guys. It's actually really hard to finish them off completely when there are so many of them already. I have to focus specifically on killing the children cells. Oh god. Speaking of which, they reproduce so fast. Yep. I figured that was gonna go one way or the other, and probably that way. Okay, but that's fine. I mean, that would have been another approach, just to warp back to the base and let them despawn off the edge of the screen. They actually get really tough, though, when you let them get big and high in their numbers. Okay, so now, oh god, they're still here. Damn it. You will not take my base. Yeah, flat area is much better for that part. The top of the tree was working really well for dodging, but not so much for, you know, being able to concentrate my fire. Okay, so now that Stardust Pillar's shields are down, I just got to get in there, finish it off. So again, Nimbus Rod, immensely useful. Phantasm also does pretty short work, but, you know, I need to use it both to kill the pillar and save myself. At this point, I definitely don't want these cells getting away from me. Ah. Anyway, pillar's down, so there's that. Okay, so I got my Stardust cells. That just leaves one more thing to do. Now, you'll notice, though, that I had to stick with just a staunch, merely a staunch Phantasm, because I don't have a lot of money left. So, sad thing is, I might not be able to reforge my nice new Stardust Dragon Staff, because I just don't have a lot of money left. But here we go, Stardust Dragon Staff. I got it. So I'm just going to make some last minute preparations here, and then we will prepare for finally the last of the pillars, and then the Moon Lord. Okay, I think I'm just about ready. I've once again stocked up on potions. I did manage to reforge that Stardust Dragon Staff to something reasonable. Obviously we could do a little better, but I was short on money. I had to sell some random stuff, and actually ended up having a blood moon, so I have a little more money than you would expect left after that. That was after I had already reforged it, but I don't want to take any risks with ending up with something worse. So I've moved my nurse into a house up here. I've already gone ahead and put my safe here in case I need it. I don't think I will. But let's put these right here, right next to my gravestone from where I died to a Mothron long ago. But we're going to want to use those buffs, obviously. I did have 4 heart statues that I had found when I'd been mining earlier in the game, so I've wired those up to a timer here. So that's stuff that I'm obviously going to want handy when I do get to the Moon Lord fight, and that's what the house there is for. So now I should be able to just beam back to that house. But first, of course, we still need to take on the Nebula Pillar, and that'll give me, of course, also a nice little place to go to. Here we go. I figured it was close enough that we can do that. And I may want a little regeneration help on the edge of that as well. Now for the Nebula Pillar, I may want to actually switch to guns again with chlorophyte bullets, so... Because, yeah, Nebula guys, well, there's a perfect example of why I want to do that. Oops. And this is one thing I hate when... Oh, God, that's going to be a problem. Hopefully she comes back in time for the Moon Lord. That's definitely a problem. But that's one thing I hate, having a house with the nurse in there and having a bed in the same house. I guess I could be a little better in my construction, but she often gets killed. So that's going to be a problem. But yeah, we're on the arrow headgear. We want to switch to the bullet headgear. I've also got my ammo lined up for both this and the Moon Lord now. So I'm going to need to be careful not to finish the Nebula Pillar before my nurse respawns. I might need her for the Moon Lord fight. But this should do for now. Okay, so we'll just go with the chain gun. Oh yeah, I just realized I'm totally not using my Stardust Dragon. And I definitely should be. So let's just refresh the buffs there, and let's get our Stardust Dragon into play. Come on, buddy, you got enemies to kill for me. So even though I'm not a summoner, obviously the Stardust Dragon is immensely useful for all classes. And that'll help me take out those guys down there without wasting time going back and forth. My biggest problem is often just the things I forget to do. Yeah, he's gonna zoom around and kill all those guys, and I can just stay here then. Oh, one managed to get me. This is why I'm using the homing bullets. Am I out of homing bullets already? Oh god, I am. Wow. I had 400 and something. You know, I used to think that the brain sucklers were the worst, but actually it's the floaters. The floaters are the worst. Because you can get used to dealing with the brain sucklers, and you can, you know, catch them quickly, and you can use homing bullets. But the sucklers, the way they beam around, obviously homing bullets helps with that, but if you have to aim, particularly, it's a pain. They even evade the Stardust Dragon pretty effectively. And those little beams they fire, they hurt, you know? Yeah, they really hurt. Ow. Yeah, they really, really hurt. Those guys are the worst from the Nebula Pillar. Ouch. So yeah, those guys are the worst. The other thing I have to worry about is that my nurse has to respawn in the floating box, and for her to do that, I can't be too close by. Thankfully, I put this chest here to put those banners in. So there's that. Oh, nurse has arrived. Where did she arrive? Is she in there? Oh, thank God, she's back in the box. Because if I'm nearby, she'll respawn on the ground and not in the box. So now at least if I need to, I can warp back and get my heal from the nurse. Trying to avoid using my buff potions. I only have so many. I'm going to need everything I can get for the Moon Lord. I don't want to place banners so close to my Moon Lord arena, because banners, again, will count on the buff limit. So basically, I'm trying to do this with kind of the minimum, as far as buffs, at least. Maybe I should try my Piranha against those guys. I do still have my Piranha. Kind of, you know, mostly stopped using it, but... biggest problem is I don't feel like I have time to switch to it. Oh, yeah, it kind of works, though. They teleport, but it still stays on that same enemy, actually. I wasn't sure if it would do that. But yeah, actually, Piranha once again kind of saves the day. Lets me focus just on my dodging. I feel like I'm getting through these guys a lot quicker now. Oh, and actually, yeah, I think I've gotten through enough now. I was like, really? I'm not seeing lasers already? Alright, I'm just going to back up and kind of regroup here for a second, and then we'll make our charge to the heart of the pillar. Okay, actually, this is a good time to take a moment to switch my headgear and switch to the Phantasm, because that's going to be way more effective against the pillar itself. Yeah. I'm scared. I am genuinely in fear of this Moonlord fight. Because the blast from the Moonlord on Expert will just about like one-shot you. And I have a strategy for that, but even still, I'm afraid. Okay. One more length to our Phantasm Dragon. One more charge into Nebula? I don't know. Oh, is it actually below? It must be below the actual bridge that I have here then. Okay, okay. That just makes this more difficult, but here we go. There we go, there we go. Yeah, Phantasm plus the good old Nimbus Rod takes care of that pretty well. So, about those preparations for the Moonlord. Well, first of all, we want to be in good health. I've got my buff potions on already. I'll need to remember not to forget to re-establish them, shall we say. But yes, this is the idea. I'm going to want to put my holy arrows in as my primary arrows, but let's back those up with Ichor, and let's swap these out. It will still fall back to them if they're in the inventory, so we've still got a fallback if I run out of ammo, but yeah, this is, we're here now. And I am so afraid of fighting the Moonlord without the safety of a infinite regeneration box. But let's see how it goes. Okay, so the idea here is that I use the cute Fishron. I can actually, you can see, I can stay out of the range of his Moonlord bite there, and I can actually move way faster than him by using cute Fishron. But yes, that's the part I'm afraid of, and it still hit me. But my strategy for that is, because I have this long, solid bridge, the strategy is that when that beam comes, I just stay, yeah, see, like that. That's my strategy. So I just need to remember to do that, and then I need to remember to aim. Oh, damn, you know what, though? Okay, this is going much better than I thought, but I did forget one important thing. These accessories need to be swapped, especially with the holy arrows, because the holy arrows are slow, right? So I need that magic quiver to make up for that speed problem. The problem is to be able to hit him in that head eye without getting hit by the beam. So I'm actually going to want to slow down here for a second. My survival is going much better than I expected. And I'm going to want to kind of wait for him, yeah, to open that. And then try to pelt the eye while it's still open. Ah, that didn't work at all. So that's going to be my biggest challenge, because I don't want to kill off the hands before getting that head eye. Yeah, that's kind of more like it. But yeah, the holy arrows are so slow. That's a big problem. And of course, with the new update, 1.4, they're actually making it so that that head beam can go through blocks, and that is going to be just brutal. So I don't know what I'm going to do then, but I guess just dodge more. Okay, so there's the beam. We want to hit that eye while we can. I am actually going to want to go for a heal about now. And that's another thing I wanted to do, actually, is just... yeah. That was brutal. Oh, that was also brutal. But yeah, I wanted to dismount, and I wanted to... yeah, now those guys are going to start hitting me. Yeah, I should have dismounted for that. And the other thing is to turn on auto pause, actually. See if I can pull that off. Because if I can auto pause, then when I go for a heal, he won't kill my nurse before I can get out of there. Let's try that out. So, grapple. Nurse. Oh god, did he kill the nurse? I think he killed the nurse. And so I'm screwed. I'm done. Dead. Just like that. Yeah. So that was the problem. But let's see. I don't know if I have enough celestial fragments to just resummon him. I was actually doing pretty well, but my dodging wasn't working out. So let's just see if I can put together a celestial sigil. Alright, so to my surprise, it actually all worked out. My nurse respawned. She did respawn. I had to be back here, and she respawned down here, but I went over to my village, and she managed to warp magically into the house, so we're good there. And I did have enough fragments to craft the celestial sigil. And I also found that these heart statues weren't producing hearts anymore because there was so much stuff on the bottom of my giant flooded arena here that it was actually blocking that. The other thing I'm going to do though is I think I'm going to switch. I did craft both Ichor arrows and Holy arrows because I wasn't quite sure. You get mixed recommendations on which is better. I was noticing those Holy arrows seem to be like really slow. I was having trouble actually hitting the Moon Lord. I'm going to switch to the Ichor arrows as my primary arrows. Let's go ahead and hit that. Other thing is that, of course, there's all these other enemies around. Yeah, please don't kill my nurse again. But here we go. Oh. Little Stardust Dragon will take those guys out. So we're back at it. Let's make sure. Yeah, I got the arrow headgear in place again. Got all my buffs. Got all my accessories in the right spot. Honestly, I think the panic was a major factor in my failure there, but let's try it again. I haven't done it this way before, and I just wanted it to be more interesting, and, well, it's interesting. Actually, probably a lot of my buffs wore out, and I said I better not forget that, and I'm pretty sure I forgot that. It looks like actually I do have spots for a couple more buffs, but I do have to also remember that Moon Lord inflicts at least one debuff. Yeah, so here we go. Did I remember to turn auto pause back on? Oh, God. Okay, let's check. Nope. I feel that this is critical. Oh, damn it. That's why. Can't forget a single little thing. Okay, so here I am again. Waiting for the Moon Lord to spawn now. I did turn on auto pause this time. I remembered to do that. So I've got my arrow set in there. Got to remember to swap those out as well. Of course, I've got my mount active. My nurse is in place. Yeah, I got some of my fragments actually died as I was killing the pillar again. I'm not gonna lie, I actually had made a backup because I didn't want to spend another hour going through all of the pillars, so I basically just reverted back to where I was and just had to defeat the Nebula Pillar again. So there we go. Let's just make sure that... Hey, I think I missed a couple of... Yeah, a few fragments here. I want to make sure that we don't have other stuff going on. Of course, I need my buffs. And you know what? Given how close we are here to the Moon Lord spawning... Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay. It's alright. We're alive. Yeah, I mean, I still think this is a good strategy. I just have to manage to pull it off. And I'm just not good at dodging. Ow. Like that. And so, okay, I'm in trouble. Grapple, nurse, heal. Auto pause. This is the auto pause importance. I just wanted to do it without the box, although really, nurse spam healing is not like less cheap particularly. But clearly this is my only hope. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you shoot the beam up there. Leave me out of this. I think maybe if I had flooded like all the way up to space, because the one major problem here, yes, the thing blocks the head beam, That's great. But, again, you know, I'm having a heck of a time just hitting the eye, and, yeah, so maybe just flooding all the way to space and not worrying so much about the head eye would be better. I don't know. Where's my cursor? Yeah, there's my cursor. But yeah, I'm just not getting a lot of damage in those brief little stints. I probably would be better just flooding all the way to space and dodging around the beam. I thought this was a good idea. Now I'm not so sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really relying on the nurse, and I don't like that, but it is what it is. Okay, so there's the beam. Do some damage. But yeah, this is taking forever. You can see, like, the amount of health left on that eye is tremendous, actually. I guess I could fly above. Maybe I'll try that. Oh god, but then I'm gonna get my nurse killed, so... Yeah, I can do a heck of a lot more damage that way, though. In fact, you know what? This mount is fast enough. Even when I'm not in the water. I can kind of get away with this, just being out here instead. I can certainly do a lot more damage. But it is best if I... Oh, God. Steady. Oh, dead again. Ouch. Okay, everybody, so was doing everything 100% legit up until the point where I reverted to my save file just to save the time of going through the Lunar Events again, and I failed again. So I took it a little bigger this time. I still only did something that I could do legitimately. It just really would have taken forever, and that is that I've expanded my arena, because as I was saying, that whole having the bridge over the top thing wasn't really working out for me. So I used a map editor, because this just would have taken hours otherwise, and all I've done is essentially copied this section of my arena, which I did fill up legitimately in the first place with an endless water bucket. I got one of those from all those fishing quests. So I've just basically copied that and copied that and copied that to make one giant water-filled arena. And so when that head beam comes, I'm just going to dodge above it, and that should allow me to dish out damage a lot quicker. So I think I'm all ready to go otherwise. So I'm going to get my buffs in place. I crafted a Celestial Sigil again. I'm actually going to have to, because I put auto pause on already, because I don't want to forget anything this time. So need to do it that way. And yeah, I've got all the same stuff in place. I've got my arrowhead gear. I've got these in place of my movement accessories. I've got all my other stuff, let's say. And let's just go ahead and do the buffs. I am kind of wondering if I could manage to squeeze in a couple more buffs maybe, but I guess we just won't worry too much about that. Those ones weren't too important anyway. The closest to important was the Heart Reach potion. So there we go. See, those take up 2 more, so I really just have 2 buff slots left, and the Moon Lord is going to take up at least one of those, so I just don't want any of the important buffs canceling out. And I'm just going to keep moving, because I'm afraid as soon as Moon Lord shows up, he's going to be pelting me. But I've got lots of space now, and this mount is awesome in water, which is why I had that whole plan in the first place. I just really didn't have enough space to move properly, to be able to dodge properly. So here we go. Now I can basically just stay above him most of the time, or particularly what I probably should be doing is doing that when that eye opens particularly. Of course, now I've already done that. Okay, so I guess the moral of the story is I want to be low down until that happens. I can move diagonally a lot faster than I can move just straight up and down. So yeah, here we go. I kind of didn't really get out of the way of that, but that's more like what we want to do now. And I can get far away because, again, diagonal dodging speed. It's much better than straight up and down. But yeah, I do need to keep an eye on when that head laser is coming. And I think I'm still going to end up having to go to the nurse here and there. So let's do that. So we got auto pause. Oh, he's teleporting straight to me, I think. And then I'm just going to fall out of here. Straight in there. Yeah, and being above him is much, much better. I can do way more damage. And I swapped back to my holy arrows, actually, instead of the Ichor, because I figured at this point I'm going to be with him all the time. And he should be about due. Yeah. You learn the timing, that helps too. Oh, it does come all the way above. I've never tried this approach, so I didn't even know that he could actually shoot that laser above as well. But you can see, I mean, this gives me so much more room. And yeah, if I can just get around, because it won't sweep all the way around, so that's key. I may actually want to start taking out the hands, because I almost have that head laser done already. And there it is. Okay, so now we got to get the hands. But this probably gives us a clue as to what we're going to want to think about in Master Mode when we can't dodge that. We can't use blocks to get out of the way of the head laser anyway at that point, so this tells us a lot about our future, actually. I think this sunken arena is probably going to be our best bet. Cute Fishron is very powerful, very fast. Okay, there we go. Now I just need to do this part. Oh god, a wyvern. That's bad timing. Okay, you know what? One last nurse visit. One last nurse visit. Catch my breath. Catch my breath. Okay, let's go. Steady. Yeah, so I really could have done this anyway. It's just that I didn't, because I didn't have the experience. I literally haven't done it this way before. I just hit in the box before. And I didn't want to do that, especially knowing that I wasn't going to be able to do that with 1.4. I wanted to kind of mentally prepare myself for that as well. And so I think this is quite viable. Quite viable right at this moment, I would say. Because he's dead now. Take that, Moonlord. So it only took me 4 tries and reverting to a backup and using T-edit, but I could have done that legitimately. I could have. So it's all in the approach. It is all in the approach. Let's see what we got from Moonlord. And although this is fun, yeah, let's go back here so that we can see better. And let's turn auto pause back off now. It's something I do not normally use. But here we go, Moonlord treasure bag. And I've got the portal gun, and I've got a bunch of luminite, and I've got the gravity globe, and the suspicious looking tentacle. And oh, how fitting is that? As a ranger, I got not only an SDMG, but a deadly SDMG. So that is a solid win. And yeah, the only difference is that, well, it would have taken me forever to make that arena to do it legitimately. So that's it. We've completed expert. Oh, and of course the solar eclipse is happening. I'm gonna run. So actually, you know what? I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna run. I have a better idea, because I'm all about tactics and strategy, right? So I have a better idea. Oh, come on, Mothron, right away. No, I had a better idea. Go away, Mothron. Leave me alone. Well, I've got a phantasm now, so you can't kill me that easy, Mothron. My idea is this. Let's just use this wonderful thing, Enchanted Sundial, and skip right through the solar eclipse. Take that, solar eclipse. You didn't get me this time. Alright, so anyway, yeah, I feel that that's a good preparation for 1.4 and Master Mode coming, where those head beams from the Moon Lord are going to go straight through the blocks. I wanted to do it another way without cheesing it, and I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it is something I could have done legitimately, and I did it more or less legitimately, other than, you know, taking some shortcuts time-wise. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Yes, I will be covering Terraria 1.4 Journey's End very extensively, and there's a lot that I have planned coming for that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.